So welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. And today, the Day of Reckoning event in Saudi Arabia, which is taking place on the 23rd of December this year, has been confirmed. Now, this is an action-packed event with crazy amount of brilliant, exciting fights on the undercard. For the main event, co-main event feature, I should say, are pretty much the two headliners, which will be Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wadlin and Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. And in themselves, these guys, these two fights are pretty much main eventers. Where if this was a single show, these guys would pretty much be headlining themselves. Obviously, the Saudis have pretty much put both of these guys as the co-main event in one big action-packed event. Now, on the undercard, as I said earlier, there's some amazing fights on there as well. We have Dimitri Bivol pretty much making his return to the ring this year. And he will be taking on Lyndon Arthur, who has been quite active recently. He's had quite a lot of fights this year. And it's quite good to see Lyndon Arthur back in the ring. I will do a separate video in regards to this fight. Lyndon Arthur is one of my favourite boxers coming out of the UK. It's just a shame that he has to take on Dimitri Bivol, again, a boxer who I love watching in the ring. It's just a shame that at some point, you know what I mean, it'd be brilliant if we could try and get Bivol versus Beterbiev into the ring, because these two guys are obviously the best two light heavyweights, and Lyndon Arthur's got a very, 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 can't keep saying very too much, big task on his hands. So also as well on the card, we have Jai Opetaia. He's taking on Ellis Sorrow. I feel as if this is too much of a big jump for Ellis Sorrow. We saw exactly what happened to Jordan Thompson recently when he fought Jai Opetaia. He just got annihilated. Jai Opetaia is on another level. And in my head, I'm thinking, why is Jai Opetaia taking on someone like an Ellis Sorrow? And it's probably because that maybe, I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm going to be guessing that the bigger names in the division were all occupied, and potentially maybe there was not enough money on the table to maybe throw someone like a Richard Riakporhe um, into the ring at this stage, or maybe a Lawrence Okolie. I don't really know, but yeah, I feel as if this is too much of a big jump for someone like an Ellis Zorro, and it's a shame because something like this could pretty much make or break a fighter. I just hope it doesn't break Ellis Sorrow, because again he's got a good record at the minute, 17-0, a prospect, but nowhere on the world level stage at this particular moment in time. Also on the bill we have Daniel Dubois. He will be taking on again the infamous Jarrell Miller, and Miller obviously has got a lot of controversy to his name. He's had a few fights since his ban, and he's come back with a few wins against nobodies realistically, but he's come back with a few wins, and he'll be taking on Daniel Dubois, who's coming off a few losses himself. Obviously, the most recent loss with Alexander Usyk, where there was that maybe give or take controversial low blow, which I didn't think it was a low blow, but obviously his team appealed, they lost, and now they're looking to pretty much rebuild themselves, and hopefully, depending on what happens, let's say in the next 18 months, these guys want to pretty much be considered up there for maybe some sort of world title shot again. Daniel Dubois, I feel as if that's a good fight in itself. Not an exciting fight. Not kind of sure who will kind of favour at this point. Just depends on what shape Jarrell Miller comes in, and how motivated he is as well. Because again, if he puts on a good display against someone like a Daniel Dubois, then there's bigger fights out there for him as well. And another fight in the bill, we've got Aslanbek Makhmudov. He will be taking on Ajit Kabayel, who is currently the European champion. Arslanbek, again, this is a good fight for him in a weird way, because, again, he gets to take on the European champion. Obviously, if he beats the European champion, um, then obviously he gets a belt to his name. It obviously pushes him up the rankings as well, and it he could pretty much go on this bill and annihilate Ajit Caballero within a couple of rounds and just look sensational. I don't really feel that Caballero is going to offer too much against Makhmudov, but this is heavyweight boxing. We don't really know what could happen on the day, but my money's going on Arslanbek, like quite straightforward, really. I think most people put their money on him winning this fight quite comfortable. We then have a Franz Sanchez. He will be taking on a Junior Farr. Again, if I had to put my money on this fight, I'd go with Frank Sanchez. However, it didn't really look brilliant in his last performance. But sometimes if you know what I mean, if the names are not as big, who you're fighting, your performance level drops. But I do fancy him against someone like a Junior Farr. The last time I saw Junior Farr fight, he was fighting against Joseph Parker, and he looked pretty decent, but just didn't have enough in the end when it came down to it in the final and the most important parts of the fight. Yeah, straightforward victory in my eyes, but not an exciting fight. But it's just good to kind of see Frank Sanchez, and it's on a big stage. A lot of people will be watching, so if he puts on a good performance, this is going to be pushing him up the rankings. But at the same time, it's giving more people access to seeing what he could do, and maybe be saying, "Oh, why can't Frank Sanchez fight? Let's say Makhmudov or Parker or Daniel Dubois or Miller, etc., etc." And then finally, one of the last fight which was named is pretty much Philip Hergovich, who taking on Mark Demori. Mark Demori, he fought David Haye back in 2016. Didn't really offer much against David Haye back then. He's been on 11 wins since that defeat, but nothing exciting. It's Mark Demori. Not disrespecting the guy, but if Filip Hergovic struggles or loses against someone like a Mark Demori, then this guy should just hang up his gloves and just retire. Again, my money goes on Filip Hergovic, and he needs to destroy someone like a Mark Demori within 3 rounds. If it goes longer than that, I'll be shocked. But again, big opportunity for him. He could pretty much go out there and put on a statement and pretty much try and boost his fan rating at some point, because again, this guy is pretty much next in line for the IBF um, belt, and he will potentially get his crack at it at some point next year. So again, if he goes out there, puts on a good display, um, you never know what could happen if that belt gets vacant, um, or if the winner of Usyk and Tyson, he may get a crack at one of these two guys. But again, it's a brilliant event. And because it's under 6 weeks now, to get this many top heavyweight boxers and light heavyweights and cruiserweight boxers on the bill to all compete on this bill, I think it's just phenomenal. And there'll be a lot of money which is going through this event. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly how next year's event with Tyson Fury versus Usyk could top this, because there's so many big names on this, and the only way is up with Saudi boxing, and Saudi boxing could pretty much, if they could do an event like this in 6 weeks. We all know that the Tyson and Usyk fight has been called for the 17th of February. Who could they pretty much try and entice on that bill? You know, I mean, could they potentially make a Bivol versus Beterbiev, which I doubt it, but you know what I mean? That'd be nice, because that's the fight everyone wants to kind of see. Could they pretty much do a Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, depending on how much punishment they take in this up and coming fight? Yeah, so it'd be interesting. You guys let me know what you think about this event. As always, please subscribe. Bless.